and a low of 48. The temperature will continue to rise into Friday. You'll see a high of 65 and a low of 31, but be prepared for rain showers Friday afternoon and later on in the evening. Rain will turn to snow in the early hours of Saturday morning. Expect to see a drop in the temperature with a high of 34 and a low of 17. Bundle up for another cold day on Sunday. Partly cloudy skies, a high of 30 and a low of 16 is in the forecast. This is Mason Self for the News 103.9 Livewire Weather Center. Count on it.
In Irwin, it's clear and 61. In Greenville, it's clear and 63. In Johnson City, it's clear and 63.
At CVS Pharmacy, we're happy to be there for you when you're feeling less than fabulous. But we also want to keep you feeling great and going strong. Come in and shop vitamins, supplements, and better-for-you snacks, all at great prices. This week, get select Nature's Bounty vitamins, now buy one, get one free. And Voss Water, now 2 for $3. It's the year of you and improved at CVS Pharmacy. Restrictions apply. See circular for details.
All right, welcome back to Tri-City Sports Now. Wanted to talk a little bit in this segment about Tonya Harding, who is back in the spotlight with the movie I, Tonya. And I guess last night there was a Tonya Harding special on TV and all this. Amy Robach. Boy, there's somebody that I've always liked Amy Robach, you know. But let's see here. There has a piece on Tonya Harding here, and this came out today. This runs a little bit, but I want you to listen to it. Amy Robach talking about Tonya Harding opening up, and then I'm going to give you some ideas on, I think, why Tonya Harding's story, and Tonya Harding's story, and not Nancy Kerrigan's, is the more interesting one, and how Harding has become a sympathetic figure almost.
The feature film revisiting that infamous attack on Nancy Kerrigan. Kerrigan, Harding's competitor, clubbed in the knee after practice at the 1994 U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Harding's ex-husband, Jeff Gillooly, and a team of assailants went to prison for the crime. But Harding, who has always denied any involvement, now admitting for the first time she heard Gillooly and others talk about going after another skater. You never said to Jeff, let's do this.
No. No.
He never asked for your permission.
No.
And you were never part of the planning.
No. I did, however, overhear them talking about stuff where, well, maybe we should take somebody out so we can make sure she gets on the team. And I remember telling them, I go, what the hell are you talking about? I can skate.
So you heard them talking about doing something to someone before the attack on Nancy, but nothing specific.
This was like a month or 2 months before. But they were talking about skating and saying, well, maybe somebody should be taken out so then, you know, she can make it.
Taken out. So then when you heard about the attack on Nancy, did that pop back into your head? I heard them talking a month ago.
I didn't know what was going on.
Okay, I know that back when there was almost several members of the sports media had great animosity that they had to cover figure skating. I didn't. I mean, you know, it comes to the Olympics. We'll have this with the Winter Olympics. And maybe we'll even talk about this. There's always the figure skater, be it Dorothy Hamill, be it Katarina Witt, be it, you know, Tara Lipinski, that captures your heart at the Winter Olympics. That Tonya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan round, which wasn't even in prime time, is one of the top 10 all-time highest-rated television programs ever. 94 Olympics. And it got me to think, when something was that popular, I think it outdid every Super Bowl in terms of a rating. And if it didn't do all of them, maybe it outdid all but one, the aforementioned Super Bowl 16. Anyway, it got me to start thinking when that happened, and I remember being a younger man and thinking, boy, you know, the sports page really is geared towards men. because there was tremendous animosity. I remember a radio reporter who nearly lost his job and threw a temper tantrum that he had to give a sports report that included an update on what was happening with Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. Real sports fans don't care about that. What are real sports fans? To a lot of people who don't follow sports, the figure skating in the Winter Olympics that we're going to see next month, that is their sports. I mean, it's dancing, it's elegance, it's music. That is pretty big. But we look down on it in the traditional sports world. We have a tendency to do that in sports media. To this day, I tend to do things like look down on soccer, MMA. Guilty as charged. You may notice that I probably talk more soccer on this show than anybody else in the market, but we don't talk a whole lot, but I do see that it's a coming sport. MMA, I'm not quite so sure of, because when I see people criticize football for being too violent, when I see how boxing and really even pro wrestling have lost a lot of popularity over the years because of their violence, I wonder, well, how much more can MMA go on? Especially when you don't have, MMA fighters. I mean, how irrelevant now is Kimbo Slice? Probably the most well-known one MMA, all time. Got the sport into prime time. Where is he now? Tonya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan are more relevant now than Kimbo Slice. Did Kimbo Slice pass away? If so, I'm literally wondering that. And if he did, I should know this, but it's just, no, I'm not, let's see here. I've got this right now, and I'm thinking that, what is Kimbo Slice doing? I mean, I do think, he passed away last year. That's right. I remember this, but, even so. And I said, Marky, he can't do anything because he's passed away. But his name does not live on. Like, say, another deceased athlete of the past who was in great prominence. I mean, there's no real magic cachet with Kimbo Slice. He's a guy that went on YouTube and beat up people. Somehow that, And so I wondered about the future of MMA. I really have. And that's one of the reasons I kind of shy away from it, even though I do know that it could be something of a quick buck on this show. And, perhaps we should, we've talked about Ronda Rousey's career with Chrissy Martin. I'd love to have Chrissy Martin back on the program. Anyway, I'm dancing all around the place here. Let's get back to Tonya Harding and her movie that is out. Recently, she did an interview with Piers Morgan in Britain, actually. I didn't have no idea that Piers Morgan worked in both England and the United States. But, she almost walked out of it. Piers Morgan was, saying, look, you're not the victim here. Nancy Kerrigan is the victim. Interesting. But then why is it that we kind of feel like Tonya Harding is a victim? And I felt that back in 94 when I was saying, there's a popularity for this sport. It's just that sports talk radio, we are catered to men. And so, maybe there could be, figure skating talk and all that. But you'd almost have to do it on a lifestyle radio network more than a sports talk radio network. Ratings are great. It's perhaps the most popular sport among women. But you're not going to get football fans necessarily. Again, I think that Winter Olympics, we all do. Dorothy Hamill, like I said, Tara Lipinski, Katarina Witt, they all become great celebrities. And so did Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. I think one of the things that we sympathize with Tonya Harding for a couple of things. First of all, she's blue collar. She's Heartland. She's from Oregon. Nancy Kerrigan, she's from Massachusetts. She's white collar. Even when you heard and let's see here if we can, I'm going to see if we can hear that the why, I'm going to have to play it from the beginning, but listen to this here as we'll go back to the Amy Robach comment here and the little clip from 94 with Nancy Kerrigan.
The feature film revisiting that infamous attack on Nancy Kerrigan.
Okay, you heard that, and I mean, obviously, no one should have to go through that. But even then with the why, it almost seemed like, Nancy is, whining. And I know that that's a real hard-nosed way to look at it, and it's certainly unsympathetic. But it was, you came back to win the silver medal and you're crying like this. There was the ideas from her family. I remember Kerrigan's family saying it would be nice if Tonya Harding wasn't there. Hint, 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 hint. Legitimate comment, but also kind of snarky. And you always looked at this with Tonya Harding almost, and there's the movie. Here's a clip from the I, Tonya movie here, actually. Let's play this.
Haters always say, Tonya, tell the truth. There's no such thing as truth. Everyone has their own truth.
I just, I recall this and thinking and having at the time even sympathy for Tonya Harding, watching her fall so fast. After the incident, which she's saying that she had no involvement in, there was a Tonya Harding sex tape, her wedding night, with Jeff Gillooly, who comes off as the worst sleaze in the world in this whole thing. And it's almost sympathetic, like, wait a minute, bad husband here, someone you got to get away from. Yeah, get away from this guy. That's what no, we're sympathetic for bad husband. We get that. And how does, the wedding night turn into a sex tape in the first place? It's just, that was one of the things where you went and said, did she deserve this? Can also remember later on, Harding trying to just reestablish her brand. She had a gig in Oregon where she was singing. And she was booed off the stage. And it got national news. And you were thinking, okay, perhaps she shouldn't be on stage singing. Perhaps, okay, such a performance would get booed off the stage. Why is that national news? Why, all these years later, does this woman have to be humiliated? Is this the pun? Tonya Harding went through the mud. Meanwhile, Nancy Kerrigan, made out to be Snow White. But it was blue collar versus white collar. And it seemed like there was this element of white collar looking down on the everyman. Or every woman, as the case may be. Tonya Harding. As a woman who, had the count 0-2 against her to begin with, but learned how to do the triple axel. Spinning around 3 times in the air. Nancy Kerrigan couldn't do that. Nobody else could. It's unprecedented. Nobody remembers that about Tonya Harding. I remember once they had, I remember the old TV network. It was the Nashville network or changed to the national network. Anyway, they were having a tough guys weekend or something. They were going to show tough guys show. So I guess, rerun the Dirty Dozen or something. What I remember is that Starsky and Hutch reruns were on there. That was going to be the tough guy week or something. And they had as the presenter, and you knew she just needed the money, was Tonya Harding. It's going to be the tough chick. And, she signed up for that and all this. You knew that she needed the money. She actually came off rather well, all things considered. I was actually happy to see her, in a way that wasn't being humiliating her. I just think that there's that feeling with Tonya Harding now that, yes, she has become a sympathetic figure, because if she wasn't involved in the plot, certainly her stock went from being a gold medal contender all the way down to 8th in the Olympics, stopping her routine in tears, being made fun of for that. Nancy Kerrigan also, I mean, when they tried to do later on a remake where Tonya Harding would apologize to Nancy Kerrigan, and Nancy Kerrigan doesn't have to accept the apology, but it was such cold fish. It looked like, and it felt like, white collar looking down on blue collar. In a pretentious Bostonian looking down at the woman from the heartland. Well, the only way you'd ever beat me anyway is if you tried to injure me. That sort of thing. And somehow, some way, Harding did become the more sympathetic figure because of all these things. She now works construction. I believe she's a mother. There's trying to get her life back in order, enjoying a little bit more publicity now than before. But I mean, this was a woman who, had it not been for her husband, could have been thought of as this great figure skater. Certainly without her distraction, she might have medaled. She might have been able to have been that rags to riches story. Even if it was a bronze, that Katarina Witt, that Tara Lipinski, someone like that Dorothy Hamill. And sadly it is. It's, not going to happen, obviously. There have been times I can remember when they had, this was about 15 years ago, Tonya and Nancy reunited and all that. And, Harding went back on the ice and you saw this one. My goodness, there's the triple axel. I mean, this is insane. Nobody else can do that. What a shame. Again, there came to be this sympathy for her. It's a tragic American tale. There's not going to be a real happy ending for it. But I guess one of the things was that somehow, some way, because it was, pretentiousness versus heartland, white collar versus blue collar. In time, it seems as if Tonya Harding, she is the one that gets the most sympathy. And you know what? If she had nothing to do with it, other than hearing her, husband talk about it, and she thinks that she puts this to rest by saying, no, I can skate. I can get the Olympics myself. I can make the medal. Then maybe that is the tragedy, that she has been raked so much through the mud over the years. And Pierce Brosnan saying, you're not the victim. In some ways, she has been the victim. Because the happy ending for her is just that, she has a job hammering nails and is a mother. There isn't the greatness of her figure skating ability. And it may have been taken out of her own hands by forces that were not her doing. Anyway, there will be there's a feature movie out there, sympathetic to her now. So that might be the best that one could hope for with her. So what can you say? Wish it is an incredible moment in American sports history. Showed me a lot of different things. Showed me, about how segregated the sports media really is in terms of the sexes. But it is a great American tragedy, even if you don't think that Harding is technically the victim. There's news coming out of Virginia Tech. Other local stuff. Carolina Panthers. They may be bringing in Norv Turner, be their offensive coordinator. Oh, we got a lot of stuff going on. Tri-City Sports Now.
Beautiful day.
No, I don't want to go.
Your Monday morning commute looks freezing.
Oh, no, not today.
And now a classic hit. Monday.
No.
Monday.
Oh, I'm throwing you out the window.
Hate Monday mornings? Consider a career change. Employment Solutions works to match you to the right job. Employment Solutions makes Monday better and Tuesday